You have so many question marks. If you like a guy, go get him. But there are a ton of question marks at the running back position. So, I mean, personally, my recommendation is that you are going to load up on running backs early. I mentioned the 3-5, and then fill out the rest of your roster. 3 running backs, pretty much no matter what. 5 wide receivers, because there's value there. And then fill out the rest of your roster, because the running backs just aren't there past the 15th running back. And even there, it's crazy.
We'll find out one way or another, guys. And let's keep it moving here. We'll do this one real quick.
See where AP lands, too, this season.
Oh, yeah.
Just got cut.
Just got cut.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's 1 injury away from start somewhere, I think.
Yeah. You know what that means. Where do you think he'll go? Let's just throw it out there. We don't know any insight.
The first injury that happens is the team that calls AP.
You think so? Let's say, just throw a team out, whatever.
Jets.
Le'Veon Bell?
I don't think so.
No, they got Frank Gore who's solid too. And just too many veterans there, yeah.
True.
No, it's going to be someone who has
the Jets doing something.
It's going to be someone who has just one running back, like that's their star. So going over the list real quick.
We don't have to spend time on AP. You're not really drafting him. He's just
but if you
it's football conversation.
Nostalgic.
If you do think we'll throw it out, sure.
He's a fantasy legend, especially after his injury when he came back and destroyed
Tennessee.
You think Tennessee?
Derrick Henry somehow gets hurt.
Yeah,
they'll go for the veteran speed over
that'd be a good spot.
It's a safe bet, guys. Let's get to the wide receiver position. We'll bang this one out real quick. Because I think Tim had an idea for a good little segment.
And these are the ones that are most important. Tight ends, there's so many options.
There's
a lot. I have 3 tight ends on my bench because, not on my bench. 1 starter, but 2 on my bench just because I can't decide. I streamlined a lot. There was a carousel of tight ends going through my team last year.
I never have luck with tight ends ever, so I'm waiting for a joke here.
Are we talking wide receivers?
We're talking wide receivers.
Yeah,
you bring up a great point.
But what I'm saying is, tight ends, we don't have to spend a lot of time on because there's a lot of options. So even if you don't draft them, if you do all your wide receivers, do all your running backs, all your quarterbacks, there will be a tight end that you can start consistently.
There is a stat, and don't quote me on the number, but if you stream your tight end, you're really getting the tight end once again 5, 6, or 7 out of the whole league if you stream it properly.
Yeah.
So
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to spend too much time.
No.
There will be tight ends out there for you. Don't worry. Don't panic because Gronk's there again.
And he is no longer the 24/7 champion. But we move on.
I can, because it is related to wide receivers. If you want to go get one of those tight ends, the wide receiver position is deep. So I'm talking about Kittle and I'm talking about Kelsey. If you want to go get them in the 2nd, 3rd round and they're there and you just want an elevated person at that position that's just a set it, forget it, gonna produce, the wide receiver position is deep. You're not losing too much by drafting one there. Let's talk about wide receivers.
No, yeah, exactly. Very well said. And Tim, bring it up here so that people can see your handsome face for those on the stream. There he is. But let's talk wide receivers. Trevor, is there anyone that you have your eye on right now? Green Bay, I think, has got some options there. I don't know about our Giants, man. What do you think?
Honestly, I was so not worried about wide receivers because of the depth. I think wide receivers, there are people that will always produce and that will always be out there. And if you want to take the Michael Thomas in the 1st round, absolutely do it. You know? But besides that, I had no worries of using my first 4 picks on the quarterbacks and running backs and then seeing what was just there. Just waiting to see what was there. And my first wide receiver I picked up was Juju. Juju, who I think obviously didn't produce a lot last year, but no Big Ben last year. A lot of rotation at quarterback last year. A lot of things changed in Pittsburgh, but what hasn't changed is Big Ben is here. Coach is still there. Juju's still there. I think some people aren't. For some reason, when it comes to Pittsburgh, I have no ties to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Last year, nothing about Pittsburgh. It was the year before. I was so in on Big Ben, and then he wound up being huge for me. And that's when Antonio Brown was there, and then that's the year I think James Conner. But don't sleep on the experience of the quarterback, I think I'm saying again. I think Juju, people aren't really paying attention to Pittsburgh, and Juju will be fine for fantasy. I think he's got a lot of talent and a lot of skill, and he's still so young, and I had no problem taking him. He had a down year last year, but there were so many problems in Pittsburgh. So, that being said, I have no problem he's ranked in my book right now as the number 16 wide receiver, and I have no problem him being my number 1. So I think there's just so many options that you could wait it out, And there's a lot of teams now that there's just not that one guy anymore, Like used to be in the Giants, used to be Odell, and then it used to be Antonio Brown. Like that's all you needed was that one huge game. There's so many options now, as we've seen with the Rams. Cooper Kupp can score you 30 points one week, and then the next week it all goes to Woods.
Dude, you hit that one right on the head.
And I ran into that problem last year. I'm going to probably run into it again this year at some point because, they rotate so much. So, wide receivers, no one is standing out to me besides the obvious.
Very well said.
Yeah. So, listen, there are so many. It's just so deep at wide receiver that you, once again, you should really try to load up on running backs early, and then the wide receivers are going to be there. Not to say that you don't get some of these consistent guys early if they're there and the value's right, but there's just so many. I'm going to read off a team that I drafted, and I want you guys, and this is that strategy I told you, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and tell me if you would go to battle with these guys, all right? So the running backs were McCaffrey was the first pick, but it was a keeper league, so don't worry about that. McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Chris Carson, those were the 3 running backs that I got early. I'm in good shape. 2 of them have to hit, obviously. McCaffrey should be gold. Derrick Henry, regression, but it'll be okay. And Chris Carson could be a stud. Now I'm going to read off these wide receivers, and you tell me if you would go to battle with them, okay? All right, Odell Beckham, DJ Chark, Metcalf, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Cooks, Emmanuel Sanders.
So I'm gonna. Should we say that for the segment? What? Read them off. And
you can. No. You can.
I think the question is, would you take it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm just going with the depth at the wide receiver.
How many wide receivers start?
2 or 3. I think it's 3 in that. It's 2, but then you have 2 flex.
So you're gonna start most likely 3.
I will in this PPR. I will most likely start 4 unless I have a receiving back.
I don't know.
It's not bad
because it
doesn't
deep.
Wow me either.
It's not going to wow you, but it's deep. That's what I'm saying. Listen, there's going to be question marks at a couple of guys. I'm being honest with you.
I think Odell's the question mark there, and it sounds like your best wide receiver.
He was the first one I took, but I'm a true believer that he had a core injury last year, and it really stopped him from being as explosive as he's been in the past. So I'm high on him, and he was there, and he was one of my guys. When are you putting this podcast out?
I might stream it tonight, but it'll be up probably tomorrow.
All right, good, because I got a draft tonight.
I know. I was gonna say I'm waiting until after.
I don't want that information out. But he was one of my guys this year, and I knew I wasn't gonna get him because there was like 10 picks between, and we have a bunch of guys who are still Odell lovers, but he was one of my guys this year that I said let me go get him because I think he has a hugely bounce back season. But yeah, so my whole thing was reading that was like, listen, I went 3 straight running backs. The wide receiver position is deep. You can go get guys. So
there wasn't I loved Odell when he was on the Giants, because he could do no wrong. Yeah. But it's very clear. But it's very clear when he was on the Giants, and I think his issue in fantasy and in football is not his talent. His talent is there, even if he's hurt. All right, I don't see him and Baker having that connection that they need. And he said it was like he'll move to wherever he thinks he can finally be the guy bigger than the quarterback, and the quarterback will just give him the ball. So I don't know if Cleveland's even that place for him now. So I'm not high on Odell. Talent-wise, he's there, but will they throw him the ball?
Yeah, a little bit of an ego, but
I just don't know if they will give him the ball the amount of times he A should or A wants. Yes. And the minute he wants and he's not getting it, then there's the kicking and screaming again.
Yeah. Not trying to knock people on the show, but I did have the Odell Pop Funko, and it did not make it into the mock game, so we'll say that.
The whole thing is that the receiving core is deep in the NFL, so you can go out and get guys later in drafts, and it's all about hitting on these guys. Can you get anybody that you draft in say outside the top 20 that can bump to be a top 10 receiver? Absolutely. I mean, there are number 1 wide receivers out there who are fantastic. I will say this: know your point system, because there are guys who are touchdown guys and red zone threats, and there are guys who are chain movers and target monsters who are just going to get short stuff. Cooper Kupp is one of them. Yep. I love Cooper Kupp. I just don't. He's not a big play guy unless you count those screen passes, but they look for him in the red zone. And he's a guy that moves the chains, so he's a target monster there.
And the Stephon Diggs thing that you said is interesting too. But I just don't know yet with Buffalo. I think Buffalo's definitely gotten better. I don't know yet.
Yeah, he's another one where he was sitting there, and I like him. Don't get me
wrong.
I
like him too.
Liked him when he was in Minnesota. He just really was outshined by Adam Thielen because Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen have a bromance that rivals yours and Nunez's bromance. So I mean, listen, if I could just name off a couple guys that I do like that are going a little bit later, there is consistency out of Robert Woods and the whole.
I agree.
Wait, I might have him.
the whole fantasy world has realized that he has been just crazy consistent, and he should have a positive uptick in touchdowns because I think he only had 2 last year, but he's still a 1,000-yard receiver. So there's that. Everyone seems to be high on Calvin Ridley. He's a third-year wide receiver. There was that old adage back in the day: once you were a third-year wide receiver, you were ready to take that jump. Can Calvin Ridley do it this year? I think he's leaning more towards yes. There's guys. Listen, I hate to say that I love AJ Green this year, but I think that the Bengals are just going to be down. That defense is trash, and I think they're just going to have to throw. So I mean, I would love to take a flyer on AJ Green late, if possible, because I really think that if healthy, he is one of those guys that you're going to draft around wide receiver 25 and could end up being a top 15, top 12 wide receiver. And once again, the ultimate goal is to draft guys who are going to outperform where you draft them. Other guys that I like, just moving down the list real quick, I think Terry McLaurin takes a jump. I mentioned DJ Chark. He's one of my guys too. Both just number ones on their team that I think are going to do well. PPR monster, Tyler Boyd I really like. There's value late, and we can keep going. I mean, I really like Will Fuller, but once again, he's got to stay healthy. I think he can, take care of... if he can stay on the field, I think he turns into a top 15 wide receiver, and you're drafting him around wide receiver 30-ish. So, there's guys I like deep. You just got to, find who you like, go get them, and hopefully they perform for you.
Dig it. So let's do the segment you were telling me about, Tim. Now, what are the choices here? What we're going to do is kind of a rapid fire round. You guys are just going to be one-word answers. So what was it? It was love it?
Okay, so
go ahead,
you're going to give us some players, all right? It could be anybody you
want. I have
a
list.
Okay. And we're going to tell you whether we are in love with them.
In love?
Whether we lust after them.
In lust, I guess we'll say.
Yes. Or we are going to kick them to the curb, dump them, and get somebody new. All right, so we're calling it lust, love, or kick them to the curb.
Love, lust, or kick them to a curb. All right, so what I'll do is I have a list of 10 to 15 players. I'll throw some softballs at you guys first.
I'm going to go close the book for it. Let's go.
And here's what I'll say. Whatever choice you give, the reason that you would love them is because you genuinely love having that player on your team. You think they're going to be fantastic. Or if you lust after them, it's because you love the idea of the fact that they could perform, or they're in a situation where they could make the jump.
I like this. This is fun.
Yes.
All right, so a little
I want name, position, and team. Let's go.
All right, so in love, in lust, or kick them to the curb. Let's do this here. First time ever on the Fantasy Football edition of the BCP. All right, first name I'll throw at you guys. Patrick Mahomes. Tim. Love, lust, or kick him to the curb?
That's actually... Obviously love him. I had him on my team, and he's had 50 touchdown season, and he's a high-powered offense and should perform. But I love the idea of Patrick Mahomes. I'm not happy with where he's being drafted, so I think more this year than anything else, I'm lusting after Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
And I will just... listen, he plays my Texans in the opening game. I'm almost guaranteeing he throws 5 touchdowns because the Texans secondary is trash.
That's your team.
So
right on to my BetMGM app now.
yeah, you can see what those are.
Yeah,
said that.
So I am in love with the idea of Patrick Mahomes. I am lusting after him. With that also being said, if he happens to fall to me in the back half of the second round, I'm snatching him up and wouldn't even think twice. So I'm lusting after Patrick Mahomes.
Trevor, Patrick Mahomes.
Love him. If you have the second pick and he's still there, you take him.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
That's if for some reason I couldn't have had McCaffrey number 1, Mahomes would have been my choice.
Done deal. I love it.
It's all about draft philosophy.
Love, lust, or kick him to the curb. Devontae Adams. Let's go Trevor first. Ooh, a little bit of a thinker here.
Devontae Adams, I have a love-hate relationship with. I had him when he first joined the team and didn't do anything for me.
Should we
and
change
then and then I should have taken him, but I skipped over him because I was mad at him.
Yeah, I did.
And he exploded.
And then the next year.
But to be honest with you, nothing from Green Bay is wowing you right now. So,
Wow.
I think I'd kick him.
Kick him to the curb, Tim.
Should we change the name of the segment to Love, Lust, Kick Him to the Curb, or It's Complicated?
No,
How many sections are on Facebook that we can put here?
All of them.
I'm gonna say kick because of the depth of wide receivers.
Wow.
So don't look at it as, oh, should I go for my second running back or Devontae Adams? You go for the second running back.
Wow.
I'm kind of with you when you explain it that way. I do love the consistency of him, and other than Alan Lazard, Scantling, don't throw that name out at me because I don't think that he's going to contribute as much. Other than Lazard, who I kind of like deep this year, he's the clear number 1. He's gonna get his opportunity. If he's healthy, he's gonna be fine. You're gonna like having him. He's going to get all the targets. So, I love Devontae Adams.
That's two
very different
ones, yeah.
Very different answers. No, that's interesting.
Guys. The last one was different too. You said love, I said lust because I love the idea.
You guys look at it from
you're a deep streamer, like I'm taking him. I'm over him.
Yeah.
I'm over Devontae.
Here's one. Sticking with the Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. Go Tim.
It pains me to say
I know, right?
I'm kicking Aaron Rodgers
to the curb for Aaron Rodgers.
I'm kicking
Not
him to
wearing
the
the
curb.
cheese hat.
The reason I say that is because in a wait and see quarterback philosophy, which I'm executing in a lot of leagues this year, I just think that there are better streaming options, and I like a guy like Josh Allen later, and I like Baker Mayfield later, and I would take both of them for the upside over Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to take Aaron Rodgers as a streaming option in a positive matchup. If he's there, I'm going to take him. I just think that he's it sucks to say it, but he's on the downswing of his career, and I just don't think with the weapons that Green Bay failed to get him this year, I don't think that the upside is there for Aaron Rodgers. Wow. So I am kicking him to the curb.
Trevor.
10 quarterback league, 10 person league, 12 person league. I'm kicking Aaron Rodgers.
Wow, man. It's crazy. I was telling Tim earlier, I love my team. I got everyone I wanted, maybe except for one person. It never works.
Did you draft all of Green Bay?
I love my team. I had a good chunk, but I look at it and I'm like, this team would have been awesome 2 years ago. So, you know what I mean? It might be one of those things. So we'll see how it plays out.
Are you just rating us your team? Because I think you have both of those guys.
No, I do. And,
Alright, go ahead.
Actually, how bad did I mess this up?
All right,
You
guys.
assess my draft.
All right, guys. Here we go. Gronk.
Who do you want to go first?
I would like Trevor to go first, I guess.
Lust.
I
lust after him. I don't love him, but if it comes down to Kelsey's gone, Kittle's gone, and even I'm not. Kittle's great, but I don't know how I feel about San Francisco. I feel like everyone's going to be eyeing him up even more, and he is a beast. So I just think he's going to have a rougher time than last year a little bit. But I still think, man, and I'm going to say this, and it's only because it's Tom Brady with all those top 3 tight end.
Yeah.
Gronk. Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet. I do.
Is that on the bold prediction?
I actually agree. I agree. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Tom. There's going to be times where Gronk's going to be covered, but man, is he that security blanket where nothing's out there. He's always going to look back at Gronk. He is. He's just always going to look there.
Wow. I agree.
I disagree. I'm kicking Gronk to the curb.
Guys are.
I'm kicking Gronk to the curb because.
That's why I can't wait to draft in your league next year. Can I be right after Tim?
I'll
never have to worry about him taking my guy.
That's true. I think that he took a complete year off of football. We've had no preseason. He looks like he's not. He doesn't look as buff, we'll say, as he's looked in years past. He's looking on the trim side.
He is.
There's
steroids.
Maybe there's three options there with O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, just in the tight end room, and you tack that along with Mike Evans and Godwin. Like, there's just so many mouths to feed in Tampa that I don't think he produces. And I know they'll run 2 tight end sets because why wouldn't you when you have all those tight ends? And, I know that Tom Brady loves him and he is a security blanket, but I don't see him, really getting over 5 touchdowns if he's healthy all year. And I can get 5 touchdowns.
That is a bold prediction.
Wow.
Like if it's a full 16-game season.
Yeah, I don't see him getting.
Tom Brady's on the 5-yard line.
I don't think he gets over 5 touchdowns this year, and he I lost my train of thought. So I don't think he gets over. I don't think he gets over 5 touchdowns. I think there's just too many mouths to feed there, and I think I could go pick up 5 touchdowns off of free agency Sunday morning 9 a.m. when I'm pre-setting my lineup.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting, guys.
No, that's a bold statement.
I agree that it is a bold statement. I'm with Trevor on this one. All right, you guys touched on this one a little bit. Odell Beckham Jr. Trevor.
Kick.
Dude, we're so bitter as Giants fans.
It sounds bitter as a Giants fan, but I honestly think that he's his own worst enemy. It's not his talent.
Ding, ding, ding. I wish it was around the horn, man, because I want to give you guys points for that. 2 points for Trevor.
He's one of my...
You drafted him!
I know. Well, he's one of my guys this year. But he's got to prove to me that he can do it. The reason that I like him is because I honestly believe that he was playing injured last year with a core injury. And, he just wasn't as explosive last year. So I think he comes back to what we've seen in the past. So, more or less, I'm lusting after
I was going to say, this sounds like a lot of lust.
I'm lusting after what he has been in the past, and I hope he can get back to that. But because the wide receiver position was deep, I took my shot on my guy knowing that I was going to have more options later on. Right. So I'm lusting after the idea that Odell Beckham will bounce back.
All right, let's do 1 or 2 more. How about on the other side, Jarvis Landry? Tim.
I love the consistency of Jarvis Landry. He seemingly catches close to 100 balls every year. So PPR, I love him. Standard, I don't.
Good answer.
But I'm not also kicking him to the curb in standard. I think he'll be there late for you. He's being undervalued. And in PPR formats, you're flexing him every week if he's not starting for you. So
yeah, I'm not kicking him, but I'm not striving. I'm not loving him to go after him. So I'm lusting after him. Yeah, if he's there, sure. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Jarvis Landry this. I'm like, oh, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, he goes out there, he gets you your points, and that's it.
All right, we'll end it with this one. I think this is a good one to end it on. I'm sure you guys have a lot of opinions about this. We touched
Justin Tucker.
No. Well, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, Trevor. In Tampa. Oh, this is a good one to end it with. Should we defer to Tim?
Love it.
Love it, yeah.
I love it.
It's hard for you to say, right?
It's hard for me to say because he's Tom fucking Brady. And I was really going to try not to curse, but...
almost made it.
Almost made it. I did a small one before.
That ship has sailed.
It is Tom Brady. He's got a lot to prove, and he knows it. He does work harder than a lot of people, I think, realize. He's got so many options. So I think if he's there and you need a starting quarterback, and the ones that are clear, obvious, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s are gone. Like you got to take the flyer on Tom there.
Yeah, Tim.
I think that there are going to be other guys in the league who like Tom Brady more than me. So we'll call Tom Brady the popular girl at the dance, where you don't know, or you might not have the courage to go up to her and ask her to dance, just because it's early in the night. And you really
there's a lot of repressed emotions going right now.
There really isn't. I just like the analogy.
A lot of real talk.
A lot of
Yes.
flashbacks happening right now.
No. It's I was also watching Stranger Things, and I got that scene in my head at the end of season 2. Yeah. So let me finish. Tom Brady's the popular girl. It's early in the night. You don't really know if you have the gall to go up and ask her to dance. You know what? I think other people are going to reach, and I'm not happy taking him that early. So I guess I think he's got so much upside with all those mouths to feed. Obviously, it's Bruce Arians who's the quarterback whisperer. Tom Brady's got all the experience in the world. He's seen every formation. He's seen everything a defense can throw at him. So, he's considered the GOAT for a reason. It's just... he's also 40-something years old, and he does have something to prove. I'm not happy where he's at, so I'm lusting at the idea of Tom Brady. I'm just likely not going to go get him unless he falls to me. That's all.
Interesting. Very well said, gentlemen. And as always, you guys knocked it out of the park. I know the world's pretty much shut down right now. Is there anything to plug? You want to plug your show, Trevor, before we get out of here, or social media or anything?
At Podcast Dummies across all social media platforms. It is basically being wiped out and redone only because job changes and whatnot. It kind of took a big halt, but I'm going to wipe it out, and I think we're going to go play some video games now instead of more podcasting. But I feel like playing video games is podcasting because you're talking. I talk more than just about the games. You can talk to me about food, booze, anything while I'm playing, and then I'll curse a lot.
Awesome. Tim, anything to plug before we get out of here?
I have nothing to plug. I do want to say congratulations on everything, Bob, man. The studio looks fantastic.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
While I've seen the studio, and I've been over a few times, podcasting in it has brought a new level of excitement for the things to come for the Bob Culture podcast. So congratulations on everything.
Appreciate that.
What do you and Nunez say? Upward and onward?
Yeah, always upwards and onward, moving forward, and none of this stuff, not to get mushy, none of this stuff happens without you guys. Very much appreciate it. Trevor obviously helping with the 100th episode, man, that was huge.
Dude, 2020 has been bad for everybody, but I know some things with you, and a lot of people would have went the opposite direction, and you have just created an empire, so well done.
Well, empire is generous, but I very much appreciate that, man. But it doesn't happen without you guys. Everyone, it brings something to the table, literally this table or this home. So everyone's been fantastic.
I didn't bring the table.
He did not.
Well, empires are built one brick at a time, and you know what? You've built up a lot of bricks. So.
It's getting there. I very much appreciate the kind words, guys.
Without becoming a prick, because it could have been getting
He definitely could.
Just a little better.
Heel turn.
Yeah, heel turn. Everyone's waiting for it, right? Nah, we do good things here on the show.
You're the Kurt Angle.
Yeah. My close personal friend.
Dun, dun. We won't say.
No, we won't. No copyright, right?
You're one away from Global Guts there too.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's never nice reference. You got to sing B sharps. That's what we got.
Yeah. Back to you, Mo.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, guys, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys so much for a few minutes. Continued success moving forward and everything you guys do. Stay safe, and like we always do say here on the BCP, everyone, stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We are out. Peace. You hit that stop button on there with the little very polished.